Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today at this Ask Me Anything session. My name is Dmitry Vinnik and I'm an open source developer advocate at Facebook. So let's answer some questions that you've asked on Twitter, other social media, or through some direct messages sent to us. So I really like the first question. How did you get started in the tech industry? Do you have to be a math genius, computer science inclined person that been building their own computers from scratch back in their childhood? My personal experience is no. I started my path into my current career by going to the med school back home in Russia where I'm from. And after that, when I moved to Canada quite a few years ago, I decided to continue my education by going to do bioinformatics, which is basically applying biology in chemistry along with the computer science to study genomics, genes, and quite a few other complex things. But really, when I completed my education and decided to pursue, go into the job market, I found it tough to find a job in the field itself because it usually requires, being a PhD, a doctor of some sort. And so I was able to find a job as a quality monitor, or basically a manual tester. And back at school when I was doing my studies, I've never liked computer science. I never liked programming. But at this job, I was able to, day after day to do the same repetitive tasks of testing servers, checking the disk space and these sort of things. And then I figured, why don't I automate those tasks? Because that's what computers are for. And so I've written a couple of small apps, and I still remember vividly the day when I automated the first simple check of the disk space and how the CPU usage was going. And when it compiled and gave me the final report, I literally cried. I cried of joy, and I knew that I found my calling. And so really, to answer the question, do you have to be with a computer science background, always interested? My answer is no. One of the best people I've met at this profession were coming from the education, being anthropologists, English language teachers, people who've done arts, performance arts. Amazing folks, and they have been having a great career. It's really all about what you like, what you're trying to achieve, and how you apply yourself. So I really like the next question. It really continues the trend that my colleagues had started. So the question is, how did I get into developer advocacy in the first place? So for me personally, as I've mentioned in the previous question, I ended up doing programming, becoming a software engineer and doing it full time. But one day I went to a conference. It was called ApacheCon, and I really enjoyed the event. I've enjoyed going to the sessions, learning from experts, more importantly, interacting with people, talking to the people in the community, learning from them, not giving this alone, but also having this two-way channel that I was able to establish with people I've met in the hallways, on those sessions, and even after going to the restaurant or chatting somewhere on the street. And it was amazing experience, and I wanted to continue going to these sort of events, interacting with the community. But I figured going to attend, it's not a cheap thing, right? You have to pay to attend. But I found that there was no real fee to speak. Actually, you get things back in return, but for me the most important thing was to work and interact with the community. And so I was able to apply to speak at a conference. I was accepted first time I spoke at an event in Ukraine. And I still remember to this day that I was worried, and I was not sure in myself when I was applying, never be accepted, and I was. And after that, really I just kept going and going, because someone told me that way to improve as a speaker, because I found that enjoyable as well, is to keep doing it. And so I ended up doing way too many talks, I would say, because it was, again, in addition to my daily job as a software engineer. And at some point I had to make a decision. Do I continue doing it full-time and working with the community more, or do I do it part-time or not at all while being a developer? And I figured that I love it so much that I would give it a try. And ever since I've been a developer advocate, and there is no walked path what the position would imply. For myself, again, it was a choice of going to events, then speaking there, and ultimately making it my job. But some people, they find themselves writing, making YouTube videos at home, and then figuring that that's the best way they can apply themselves, that's what they enjoy the most, and they ended up picking up a title of developer advocate, or call themselves something else. So the next question is really exciting because it combines things that I've mentioned previously, and it's is there only one way to do developer advocacy? And my answer is no. As I mentioned before, it really depends. It depends highly on the organization you're in, size of the team, the vision, the goals, and also the product that you're trying to advocate for. Some companies, some teams, when they advocate for things, it's all about selling the product. You might be acting as some sort of a solution engineer, and you're going giving trainings, demos, and trying to collect metrics and activation out of those interactions. Some teams exclusively work on the open source. Some developer advocates code for the most part. That's something that we do quite a bit at Facebook, as open source developer advocates. Some would write a lot, produce YouTube videos, and you can do as many things as you can imagine. It's all really about keeping the head open, being open-minded, being flexible, working with the community, figuring out what your community is. And it really comes with the experience. And learning from others. Fortunately, the community of developer advocates is so large these days. You can really learn a lot from others. There is a developer advocacy conferences that happen every year. There are books, there are blogs, there are podcasts on the topics. You can learn from others. I've met people who've been doing 100% of their time spent traveling to events, just getting the name out there of the company, of themselves, or those who 100% spend time at home or in the office writing blogs. Again, it all depends on you. And so if you find yourself interested in something, developer advocacy might be for you. It's really about experimenting and trying new things. There's never one way to do things like that. So give it a try. It's very exciting. I find it exciting. Maybe you will also. Next question is something that's very important to me. And it's what is your strategy for work-life balance? It's extremely, extremely necessary for everybody to answer that. Like one of my colleagues, Amit Chopra, answered in his Ask Me Anything session before, that you can also watch in this channel. We live in the age of abundance. We have lots of news coming our way, lots of things to learn at work, lots of things to do. Then and also there is life. Obviously, there is your family, there is your home that you need to do errands at, and other things. And it's all about thinking of priorities. Imagine that you finish your day job, you go back home at the end of the day, and there is that temptation, pick up one more task at work. And there is an important truth for everybody to realize. There is always going to be work. What I mean by that is there is never a point at your job when you finish everything. There will always be that one little thing, a new thing, or some polishing that you can do, and you can keep going and going and going. There will never be a time when you finish. So you have to accept your limitations. You have to keep yourself in check and more importantly, know what's important to you. The burnout is a real thing. And it's all about knowing what's necessary. So some people, extra work is useful. It's what they like. It's what they want to do. And there is no shame in that. But you have to have a conversation with yourself. What are your priorities? I sometimes constantly struggle with this idea. I haven't done enough. I'm not good enough. And that's what's called, imposter syndrome. Everyone suffers from that. You can think that you're alone in that. Really, doesn't matter what position people are in, they would always have the same problem. And everyone struggles with those thoughts. And the way to approach it is by thinking, not comparing yourself with someone online or person you've read about. It's comparing yourself to yourself. There is going to be only one of you. You're unique. And accepting yourself, loving yourself, that's what's important. You have to be proud of what you do. And comparing yourself to yourself yesterday. And that's the only way to approach this. Did I, learn something comparing to yesterday? Did I become a better person? But you don't even have to do that. It's all about your journey and enjoying it. And only by being content, you can stay healthy and calm and enjoy yourself and really have this work-life balance. Otherwise, it never stops. the thoughts of work, the thoughts of that you don't deserve time with the family, that you don't deserve time to relax, and you do. Everyone does. So on that note, I would like to finish today's Ask Me Anything session. Thank you everybody for watching, leaving your comments, leaving your questions. If you would like to learn more about developer advocacy, please follow the links that you can find in the description. And we're really looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.